Welcome. Good morning. Good afternoon. My first screw up. Sorry, Diane. I'm Quentin Primo, founder and executive chairman of Capri Investment Group. Along with my partner, Mike Reschke of the Prime Group, I am pleased to welcome you today as we officially commence the construction of the redevelopment of the historic James R. Thompson Center, which will serve as a new home for Google. I've been given the privilege to act as Master of Ceremonies today. So first, I must thank all of those in attendance, but especially our governor, mayor, aldermen, and the many other officials who have made time in their busy schedules to join us this afternoon. Joining us today as speakers are Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson, Google Chicago Site Lead Karen Sauter, Illinois Department of Central Management Services Director Raven Devon, Chicago Department of Planning and Development Commissioner Sierra Boatwright, and 42nd Ward Alderman Brendan Riley, who cannot be here today but is in our thoughts. Also on stage with us today are Clark Construction Group Senior Vice President Mark Ames, who is standing in for CEO Dave Trollian, Yan President Evan Yan, Google Vice President of Real Estate and Workplace Services Scott Foster, Google Director of State and Local Government Affairs East Central U.S. Region Rob Biderman, and World Business Chicago CEO and President Phil Clement. We have a full program, so without further ado, I'd like to invite my partner and friend for 20 years, Mike Reschke, to the stage to personally thank so many who have been involved here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I got that right. Thanks for coming today. I mean, what an exciting day and what a special day today is. We're here today to celebrate an incredibly historic and transformative project that will have an unbelievable impact on our downtown. We have many people to recognize and thank today, but first, please allow me to share a brief history of this iconic building. As I'm sure you all know, Helmut Jahn was selected by Governor Thompson in 1982 to design a new Chicago headquarters for the state. At that time, more than 20 state agencies were scattered around the Loop in over 30 different buildings. The selection of this site was ideal for the state. It's being located in the heart of the Loop, next door to City Hall and the county building, and adjacent and on top of one of the busiest and most active CTA stations in the city. After reviewing 3 different design proposals that Helmut Jahn submitted to the governor selected probably the most unique and controversial design. This building, an open, transparent 17-story office building wrapping around this beautiful atrium that's larger than the basketball arena. When I asked the governor, why he picked this particular building before he passed, he used to tell me, well, I asked Helmut, and I said, Helmut, which one would you pick? And Helmut said, oh, without a doubt, the building that we're in today. And the governor said, well, you're the expert, we'll go with it. And that was his side of the story. Unfortunately, soon after employees took occupancy, the state ran into well-known operational problems in trying to heat and cool these open office floors wrapped around this atrium. Believe it or not, all the floors, you can't see here, but all the floors in this building never were segregated from the atrium. So you could hear people speak down here. You could smell the food court in the morning or in the afternoon and the like. It was a constant problem for heating, cooling, odor, and noise control. After struggling with these issues and implementing some temporary corrections, the state started talking about selling the building. As years passed, no buyers emerged, and it became a real possibility that any buyer of the building may have only the vision to demolish it and start anew, rather than preserving this iconic architecture. In early 2021, The state started a formal sale process, and we rolled up our sleeves and went to work to see if there was an economically viable solution to restore and modernize this building, keep it. We were stimulated by the efforts of Evan Yan and Phil Castillo to join their team in the preservation of this asset. And it was with their tenacity we got involved and got very serious. Despite its challenges, and the solution, after we did an in-depth study, everything became pretty clear what needed to be done. That was everything. The entire building and its iconic architecture could be preserved, but we needed to strip the building down to its steel frame, put a new curtain wall on, all new mechanical systems and the like. It's basically going to be rebuilt and will be a new building. Despite these costs and these challenges, we believe the Thompson Center deserved it. It had a priceless location, iconic architecture, an irreplaceable atrium that would be hard to replace in downtown Chicago today, as well as adjacency to one of the best CTA stations in the United States. The state selected our bid on December 15th, 2021, and our journey began. Now enter Google a few months later. This project requires a buyer who will invest in architecture and be a positive factor for economic development. And Google has a history of doing just that, while embracing the adaptive reuse of historic structures. Google also has long-standing roots in Chicago. When they first toured the building in early 2022, they were very quick to appreciate the history and the value of this building and its architecture, and seeing the potential of what it become. With a careful and thoughtful restoration plan, we both knew we could preserve the building's unique shape and architecture and still modernize and steward this landmark into the 21st century. When complete, the building will be noted for its sustainability features and achievements, and will be the first shell and core office building in Chicago to achieve LED platinum status. There are many people I want to thank, because getting here today took a lot of hard work by a lot of visionaries. Transformative projects like this one simply do not happen without the perseverance and commitment from our leaders in both the public sector and the private sector. First and foremost, I would like to extend special recognition to Governor Pritzker and his staff for their support and commitment and flexibility through the whole process. Thank you very much. I also want to thank and recognize the top officials at the Central Management Services, the agency that oversees and manages all of the state properties, who worked with us on a daily basis for over a year to complete this transaction. Anthony Pacenti, who was the director at the time, and Aisha Kalajelalu, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't mess up your name, a very tough but smart deputy director working for Anthony. Thank you for coming today. And more importantly, I also need to thank and recognize both our Secretary of State, Alexi Janulius, who joined us today, and our Attorney General, Kwame Royal, they were both great partners and helped us facilitate their timely move from this building to their new headquarters 4 blocks south of here at 115 South LaSalle. Thank you for everything, and thank you for being great partners in the move. Now, I especially want to thank all of the visionaries at Google for immediately seeing the potential in this project and for having the willingness to take a risk, and take a risk with Quentin and I, and take a risk on the city of Chicago. Because they knew this project would be a much needed boost in the revitalization of LaSalle Street, they knew that it would be the most impactful long-term decision for their location of their Midwest headquarters. It's so exciting to see a company like Google use their presence as a force for good of local economic development and help preserve an important part of our city's architecture. And of course, my sincere thanks also goes in recognition to our Mayor Johnson and his staff who continue to support this project, and we mutually share a mutual love and vision for the future of Chicago. Thank you, Mayor. And finally, I want to recognize and thank some other key members that helped make this day come true. First, I already mentioned the Jan architectural team, Phil Castile and Evan Jan. They both, as I mentioned, they both convinced me that we could make this building, preserve its architectural integrity, and still transform it into one of the best buildings in the world. To Clark Construction and their team, who worked tirelessly with us to bid the construction work, including, as you can well imagine, many requested changes and refinements that the Google team asked for over the last 12 months. Thank you, Clark. And finally, many thanks to the dedicated and talented executives and staff at both Prime and Capri, including, I might add, although I'll get in trouble, their spouses and their significant others and their families. And thank you, Nancy, my wife, who's here today. Thank you so much. Before I go, I want to leave everyone with one final thought, sort of a takeaway for today. People refer to this project as a transformative project. But what is truly a transformative project? It really is a fulcrum. Remember those words, fulcrum. What I mean by that is when this project is complete, this one single building will help lift up the surrounding area, the other 165 million square feet of buildings in the downtown market. Not only will it lift up the buildings, but it also will lift up the hearts, feelings, optimism of all the people who work, live, and visit this area every single day. And that's the piece that most excites me, the fulcrum effect. Now, it's with great admiration and pleasure for me to introduce a wonderful man and the great leader of our great state, the Honorable J.P. Pritzker.
Thank you so much, Mike, and good afternoon, everyone. It's rare that the seller gets invited to the announcement about the new building. But I'm very pleased to be back here at the Thompson Center with all of you, celebrating its reconstruction and its redesign. It already looks better than it did when we owned it. This building truly will be a masterpiece of preservation and reinvention, and I'm really excited to watch it transform. So thank you to Quentin, thank you to Michael, thank you for the work that you're doing on this project, and for all the work that Capri Interests is doing to make this deal happen. To our partners at Google, thank you. Thank you for reaffirming your commitment to the city of Chicago. This is an incredible investment in both your future and in ours. Your employees will call this building home and breathe new life into this area of the Loop, and enriching, thriving new tapestry across the downtown area. So many people worked tirelessly to get this project off the ground. The players are many: government, business, local community, rowing in the same direction, and the collaboration truly has been outstanding. Nothing would have happened without that close collaboration. When the state of Illinois started imagining the future for this site, we were focused on two goals: managing state government resources more efficiently and promoting economic vitality for downtown Chicago. We knew the incredible potential of this space as a cultural epicenter, a transit hub, a central location. And I want to express my thanks to Mike and his team for having the vision to find the right use and the right partner to bring this to life. Google is one of Chicago's great corporate citizens, and we are all so very proud to see it become a central feature of downtown Chicago. With this project, I'm proud to say that state government has been able to deliver on our goals, putting this property in the hands of private business, bringing jobs and revitalization to this area of the Loop, and delivering for the taxpayers. Whether you're in the public sector or in the business world, that is what we would all call a win-win-win. Revitalizing this historic building will bridge its storied past and a bright future. And it's now my great pleasure to turn the podium over to the leader of the great global city of Chicago, our mayor, Brandon Johnson.
Thank you, Governor Pritzker, for your leadership and that introduction. And good afternoon to everyone. I was with Governor Pritzker earlier at the Field Museum, and of all the days not to bring your children to work today, this happened to be that day, and he offered to buy anything anyone ever wanted in the gift shop. So I have to keep that in mind next time. If the governor's at the Field Museum, bring your kids, all right? I'm grateful for a few folks that have joined us as well. Though Alderman Riley cannot be here, he sent a couple of his colleagues, Alderman Bill Conway and Gil Villegas. Thank you both for being here today. Could you make them feel special? And I believe Clerk Anna Valencia is also here today too. Where is she? Oh, she had to do some clerking. All right. To the Prime Group Senior Vice President Mike Reschke, and of course, Capri Investment Group founder, my dear friend Quentin Primo, who are really champions of the revitalization of downtown. And of course, the entire family. Google's Chicago site leader, you're gonna hear from her in a second, Karen Sauter, and of course, the entire team for your commitment to the city of Chicago. I'm so grateful to be in partnership with your commitment to the city of Chicago. Google's makeover of the Thompson Center truly affirms everything that we know to be true about Chicago. That Chicago is literally a globally connected, world-class hub for innovation. Chicago is home to an unmatched workforce and the local talent pool. Chicago really is truly the greatest city in the world. And Google investing in our downtown and our city is affirmation to what we already know. But it's also a testament of what it means to make sure that both employers and employees can actually thrive. And we have an incredibly diverse economy, strategic location, and so many quality of life amenities for our people, from fresh drinking water to a well-connected public transportation system. We are also an inclusive, welcoming city to people from all countries, from all different cultures, no matter who you love or how you identify. Chicago is the place to be. And for all of these reasons and more, I want to thank Google and its employees for finding their success in our city, and particularly here at the Thompson Center. Now, as excited as we all are, I don't want anyone to get any ideas about City Hall. We are not for sale. Okay, all right, I thought that was a good one. But Google is part of a growing list of companies who are realizing the potential of our city. Well, whether they are moving in or setting up shop in the city of Chicago, or if they are expanding their footprint. In 2023 alone, 152 companies made investments in Chicago, including 32 new office openings. And my administration is committed to furthering our partnership with the business community and all downtown stakeholders to ensure that Chicago can continue to grow, and so that businesses can continue to come here, and facilitating growth and prosperity in our city in a way that all people from all 77 neighborhoods can benefit. We must put forth a real, true collaborative effort to ensure that that happens. And for that, I must once again express my gratitude to everyone that is here today who have made this investment possible. I look forward to seeing the renovation of the Thompson Center, all the jobs that it will bring to the downtown, but also the benefit that it will provide to all of our residents. And of course, eventually seeing Google help revitalize and strengthen our downtown. And so thank you everyone who is here today. And it is truly now my pleasure to bring our lead, a very modest human being, but really someone who has helped bring this full operation into fruition. Please help me welcome Karen Sauter. Karen?
Good afternoon. As they've mentioned, I'm Karen Sauter. I'm the site lead here for our Chicago office at Google, and I'm the president of our Global Clients and Agency Solutions. How fortuitous, then, that we are here today. In an interview Helmut Jahn did towards the end of his life, he was asked what could be done to address some of the building's challenges. And he said to a reporter that he hoped it would be taken over by a tech company. We're so honored that that company in this great city that we've called home for 25 years, and that company is us, Google. As the site lead for Google Chicago, I'm incredibly passionate about how we show up and support Chicago and Chicagoans. We're deeply committed to investing in our presence here and being a good neighbor. I'm proud to be here today to kick off the next phase of our journey alongside some of our local leaders, Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson, Quentin Primo, and Mike Reschke. The Thompson Center is a true Chicago landmark that has become an epicenter for the diversity and vibrancy that runs so deeply throughout the city. When we started to explore the deal, we were struck by the way the building's architecture symbolizes transparency in which strong communities are built. And we couldn't be more excited to make it our new home. At Google, we look at real estate as not simply office space for our employees, but as an investment we can make in cities and communities that can have real impact. With the Thompson Center, we saw a chance to revitalize the Loop, but also take this iconic building that some thought of tearing down and instead make the renovations necessary to respectfully steward it into the 21st century, to preserve this part of the city's history and the symbolism of transparency and civic engagement the building represents. And we think our employees will enjoy it too. In many ways, Google and the Thompson Center are a perfect match. Delightfully quirky, multifunctional, hyper-connected, and everyone knows us. Our vision for a reimagined Thompson Center includes upgrading the building to an energy-efficient LEED Platinum all-electric building, supporting Google's net zero carbon goals. Working to make the building safer for birds by installing patterned glass in key areas and minimizing nighttime lighting in alignment with Google's approach to bird-friendly design. Creating new gathering and green space around and in the Thompson Center because we don't just want this to be a Google asset, we want it to be a community asset. And expanding the ground floor atrium to create a modern, comfortable space for commuters, visitors, and all Chicagoans who will maintain access to the Clark and Lake CTA station. It will also feature new design elements that align with the modern identity of the Loop, while nodding to those unique design and architectural elements that make the Thompson Center famous, whether you like it or not. I'm also very excited to share that Google has commissioned 4 original artworks from Chicago-based artists on each side of the construction fencing. This is part of our Artist in Residence program, and after considering over 50 artists, we received many fantastic proposals that were voted on by our Google Chicago office. The selected artworks feature the artist's interpretation of elements of the Thompson Center's design, as well as their hopes for the future of Chicago. The final artworks are from Katie Chung, Mac Blackout, Caitlin Lewis, and Sam Kirk. I've seen firsthand how Chicago and Illinois have turned into a hub for innovation that allows people to thrive and collaborate in ways that aren't seen in too many other places. Chicago's tech ecosystem has grown by an impressive 18% over the last decade, and it supports 18% of the city's workforce. Attracting and developing homegrown, diverse, and skilled talent to our city is something we should all be working towards, and we're proud to play a part in bringing this new wave of growth and innovation to the Loop and our soon-to-be new home. Thank you for your support. We look forward to creating this vision together. And now I'd like to invite Raven Devon, Director of Illinois Department of Central Management Services, to the stage.
Good afternoon. I can guarantee you there's no one more excited about today than me, because I know now when I have a property management issue at CMS, it is not the HVAC system failing at the Thompson Center. Good afternoon. My name is Raven Devine. It is my absolute pleasure and honor to serve as Director of the Illinois Department of Central Management Services, or more commonly CMS. We are responsible for a number of statewide functions, including the strategic oversight of the state's real estate and property management strategy. I'm excited to be here today to celebrate the fruit of the labor of state leadership spanning 20-plus years. Under the visionary and supportive leadership of Governor J.B. Pritzker, the state of Illinois embarked upon a mission to optimize its real estate portfolio, working to ensure that every square foot of every building serves the highest and best purpose for all people of Illinois. For us, this day represents a promise made and a promise kept. CMS is tasked with the critical responsibility overseeing more than 750 owned and leased facilities throughout the state. Through analysis and strategic planning, the selling of the Thompson Center represents how CMS delivers on its dual mandate to meet the operational needs of state agencies while maximizing efficiencies and reducing operating expenses. The former Thompson Center stands as an iconic testament to Helmut Jahn's aspirations for grandly scaled postmodern architecture in Chicago. With its dynamic design, the state could not realize this building's unlimited potential alone. Enter the ambitious vision of Quentin Primo and Mike Reschke, two developers aligned to not only serve their city and state, but to act as a catalyst to attract others to the bright flame, lighting the path forward right here in the heart of the Loop. Finally, moving the Thompson Center forward was a significant milestone in the Pritzker administration's commitment to economizing state resources to the benefit of Illinois taxpayers. Many tried before, but only under the leadership of this governor and his dynamic team, of which I'm a part, did we succeed. By consolidating employees in state-owned buildings and reducing private leases, we are not only streamlining operations, but also realizing substantial cost savings. By reimagining our real estate portfolio, the state of Illinois is catalyzing economic growth and job creation. The revitalization of the LaSalle Street corridor and the influx of businesses like Google are clear indicators of the positive impact that strategic investments can have on urban economic development. CMS is proud to be an active leader in the responsible stewardship of public resources. By adjusting our real estate strategy, we're not only saving taxpayer dollars, but also laying the groundwork for a more efficient and sustainable future. Today's groundbreaking highlights what our state has to offer: ingenuity, innovation, partnership, and excellence. May today be the very best start to an amazing chapter in the storied history of one of Chicago's most iconic buildings. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to bring up Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Planning and Development, Sierra Boatwright.
Thank you, Raven. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm thrilled to join Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson, and the entire development team for this momentous occasion for the Loop and the entire LaSalle Street corridor. What a project! It's among the largest office rehabs of its type in the city's history. One that preserves the postmodernist icon while creating a focal point for innovation and investment that will extend far beyond the atrium we know and love. And it couldn't happen at a better place. This block has always been the center for forward-thinking, planning, and investment. From the 4 Sherman House hotels that help make Chicago a center of business travel and entertainment, to its role hosting one of the most unique government buildings on the planet. Its legacy as a center of activity goes back more than 180 years. So it's highly appropriate that Google would want to expand its footprint in Chicago at this very spot. I want company executives and future staff to know Chicago is ready for you. About a year ago, we initiated an update to our central area plan to ensure the area meets the needs of a contemporary downtown, especially with equitable public and private investment that serves residents and businesses throughout our city. Among the lessons we learned through public engagement is that the Loop needs more diversity, more neighborhood amenities, and better access to passive recreation and cultural opportunities. We also supported a formal planning study for LaSalle Street that recommended a more dynamic mix of uses, including better connections with the Riverwalk, improved access to the grand lobbies and other historic spaces that line the street, and again, more neighborhood-oriented businesses that are essential for live, work, play environments. Fast forward to spring 2024, and we have more than 1,000 new, including over 300 affordable housing units moving forward just south of here. New and improved restaurants and cultural facilities that are revitalizing ground floor retail spaces. And a visioning study with CDOT that's targeting underutilized sidewalks, plazas, and alleys for improvement that attract and retain residents, businesses, and tourists. All of these improvements will certainly help LaSalle transition from a 9-to-5 environment to a vibrant 18-hour environment. These efforts will complement the thousands of permanent and temporary jobs that have already started work within this building. Millions of dollars in new property tax revenues and complete reopening of the most complex and one of the busiest train stations in the CTA system at Clark and Lake. I'm excited for Google staff and the economic impact that will generate throughout the city in stores, restaurants, businesses, and other small businesses that depend on a healthy downtown. In closing, I want to express my thanks and congratulations to the development team on this vision and commitment to the heart of Chicago. And I'd like to bring Quentin Primo back to the podium.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I want to thank all of the speakers today, Governor, Mayor, for such meaningful and moving comments. Just as this design and construction project will offer something that some of us may have taken for granted, in this instance, stunning new lease on life on an outdated but still impressive public building, poetry offers us a new way to see aspects of this world that we often overlook. And like this project, writing poetry takes design and construction as well. For this reason, I am honored to introduce an architect of this literary art, Chicago's first ever poet laureate, Avery R. Young. He wrote a moving poem that not only commemorates this event, but also has poignant references to our city's heel and heart, as he puts it. So last but not least, I'm convinced that we often remember the last thing we hear or see. I'd like to invite Avery to the podium to read his inspirational poem, A Wandering Upon the Naming of Mountains. Avery.
Thank you, Quentin, and thank you, Mayor Johnson, for helping me write this poem. We back. Maybe we christen her Kitahau to acknowledge who named the soil first. Surname her Burroughs, or Butler, or Bennett, or Brooks, as she will implement splendor amongst the Meadow Mountains. Welcome a new leaping of heel and heart. Give her public music in monorhyme to adorn all that blue and cloud above her. She has been an emerald in the middle of boxes that kept the skyline looking like a soundboard. She has collected the headshots of all the city models posing for their identity cards or changing their address or getting a new license plate. She has connected all the colored lines of L train transit so that after a long day of standing in line for their close-ups, the city models can get back up north, or way south, or over east, or out west. I mean, she is a super bad kind of dome. The kind of dome that make a rush hour feel like home. So intricately designed, her real basement look like a maze minus Frankie Beverly. To keep her family warm from the cold and cool from the hot, I said she is a super and kind dome. And today, we make her new. Give her new skeleton, sinew, and muscle to consider earth, wind, water, and fire. Allow her skin to be more grace within the bustle of a city's grind come 9 and 5. We make her new. Give her new body for relief. All that sheltering models and forms requires a new dress. Maybe we christen her everybody to acknowledge who the soil is for. Surname her love, or eat, or good, or breathe. She, an emerald amongst the metal mountains, must unfold to reascend amidst all of that blue and cloud above her head.
Thank you, Avery. That was absolutely brilliant. He is a city treasure, but also a national one as well. So thank you so very much. We are truly adding new sinew, muscle, and grace to the Thompson Center. So what a conclusion to this historic event on such a glorious day that God has given us. We hope this program has been meaningful and exciting to you and gives you deeper insight about how consequential and transformative this project will be for the Loop and for the city as a whole. We also hope that you will stick around for a bit for a glass signing ceremony that's going to occur directly adjacent to the stage that will commemorate the original Thompson Center and its groundbreaking postmodern design. Each of our participants today have been asked to sign a piece of the structure's original glass cladding, and to that end, we're going to ask all those who've already signed it to stay on stage, and 5 of us will descend the stage over to my left, and we'll do the final signatures on the glass. So the chairs will be removed as we're leaving the stage. But please, everyone, stay in place. After that occurs, the ceremonial signing, we ask that for those of you who can stay, please go out into this glorious day and have refreshments with us and break bread and be happy what we have created together. So we thank you so much for being here today, and please enjoy your day. Thank you.